Which survival horror world do you think that you could survive the longest? In today's video, I've ranked 5 survival horror games from manageable to absolute nightmare, based on how hard I think they'd be to survive in real life. In my previous video, I talked about surviving the worlds of survival games like The Long Dark and Green Hell, and I can safely say I would much rather survive in any of those worlds than these. Let's get into it. Starting at number 5, the most survivable on this list, we've got the Quarry. The Quarry follows a group of camp counselors as they face an increasingly terrifying night full of supernatural creatures and violent threats. And in all honesty, the supernatural side of this is brutal. You're outmatched and you're up against enemies that you can't negotiate with in any way. But the saving grace is that the Quarry doesn't limit your access to resources or force you to survive on your own. So you do have a chance here. Low key, for me, the greatest challenge of surviving this world in real life would be dealing with the personalities of your fellow camp counselors because, wow, these are not likable characters at all. This entry is extremely light in comparison to every other entry, but it is a good reminder that sometimes surviving alone is favorable to having to survive with a group of obnoxious camp counselors. For number 4, we're talking about The Last of Us, and this is where things really start to get miserable. The world has been transformed by the spread of the cordyceps fungus, turning people into relentless, dangerous beings. The fungus spreads by bites or airborne spores, meaning not only are the infected a constant threat, but the environment itself can kill you if it's contaminated. You'll be in danger almost all of the time. But here's what I think would be even worse than the infected. The Last of Us explores in great detail numerous factions that have formed since the outbreak began, including the authoritarian and militaristic Fedra, the Fireflies, and smaller splinter groups that fight for control of cities. You would spend every moment you weren't worrying about the infected, worrying about whether the person that you're trying to trust is about to put a knife in your back. The paranoia and the inability to trust anyone would be exhausting to live with. I think it's this slow uneasiness and dread that would really wear people down much more quickly than the cordyceps ever could. For number 3, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. This is truly stepping into a nightmare. You're up against the Baker family who can't easily be killed, and you're on their turf. You don't have any advantages here. Even your resources for health and for ammunition are super limited. And let me ask you this, are you claustrophobic? Do you easily get sick to your stomach? I certainly hope not, because to survive this, you'll have to make it through a filthy, derelict estate. It's a truly unsettling and gross location to explore. The corridors are maze-like, the walls are decaying, and you will have a constant sinking feeling of what could be lurking behind every corner. Number 2 is Dead Space. Surviving in space against relentless enemies. How could the stakes possibly get higher? The enemies known as necromorphs are fast and frequently strike from hidden locations like vents. What's worse is that you can't just shoot them and call it good. They have to be dismembered. This requires you to constantly be ready, not just to be attacked, but to effectively take out your attackers before you're swarmed and you can't do anything. It can be a strain just to play it, but to live it would be an incredible amount of stress to have to deal with. There are few safe places and even fewer moments where you have any break from any of this, making it all the more terrifying to try to survive this long term. Not to mention, the isolation of space makes all of it so much worse, because no one is coming to save you. They probably don't even know what's going on. You're on your own. I mean, except for all of the necromorphs. And at number 1, the most miserable survival horror game world to live through in real life, my pick is Alien Isolation, the Xenomorph. I mean, what more needs to be said? It tracks you constantly, it learns your movements, and modifies its actions to counter you. No other game world on this list captures the amount of dread that comes from knowing that the Xenomorph is out there and not knowing when it's going to strike. Especially because, unlike every other entry on this list, the Xenomorph is basically unstoppable. You can't dismember it, you can't even hide effectively from it. And what's even worse, somehow, is that all of this takes place on a space station, meaning 1, you're incredibly isolated, and 2, you can't easily put distance between yourself and this enemy. There's nowhere to run that it won't eventually find you. I know for sure that I wouldn't stand a chance. So that's my ranking of the misery, pain, and terror that I think would come from trying to survive in these game worlds. Is there a world that you think would be even more miserable to try to survive in than Alien Isolation? Let's talk about it in the comments. If you like more content like this, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.